Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about debugging Angular app using Google Chrome and also this Angular DevTools Chrome plugin. Also Firefox has this plugin as well. Now first you need to install this DevTools plugin, Angular DevTools from Chrome Store. Chrome Web Store is free. You just add this Angular DevTools to your Google Chrome. Then you click on this extension button and click on this pin. It will pin the Angular DevTools to your top bar so you can see it all the time. Once you have done that, you can just make some changes to your project. This Visual Studio Code, there's Angular project. You need to access one file, Angular JSON configuration file. So this file, you need to edit 3 places. The first, under the build. So you have architect build. Under build, there's configurations. You should have this production configuration by default. So the first of the 3 changes you need to make is to add a development configuration under build. So the development configuration under build is build optimizer false, optimization false, vendor chunk true, extract licenses false, source map true. Yeah, you have to use source map true, otherwise all your TypeScript code will be gone. They will be compiled into a single JavaScript file, a bunch of JavaScript file. Yeah, so you need source map true and name chunks true. Once you added this development configuration, the second thing you need to add a line, default configuration production. So this is at the same level as the production configuration. Yeah, configuration, production, development, or whatever other configuration you want to add. And then default configuration production. Then you go to serve. So previous changes made under build. And now you go to serve, add development configuration, which is identical to the production configuration, except here you use development instead of production. So the project name is called Clear. Yeah. Now after you made the 3 changes, you can then launch your application, which is ngserve-c development. The default port is 4200. You can obviously configure whatever port you want to use. So now you go to localhost 4200. The app is being served. You can see this little Angular icon becomes red because an Angular app is served. You press F12. You can see here a classic debugging tool is to view the source code. Because you use the source map equals true, you will be able to see under this webpack your source code, Angular source code, app component. Let's click this file. We add 3 breakpoint. Now if you press, you can also watch variables. Here I watch this .title. Now let's press F5 again. It hits the first breakpoint. This title is undefined. You press F8. It's still undefined. You press F8 again. Once the 3rd breakpoint is reached, the title becomes clear. So this way you can trace variable values by setting the breakpoint. So this is a very classic debugging tool. Let's remove them. And you press F8 again. It executes the whole thing. Now let's talk about the plugin we just installed. It's called Angular. So Lighthouse is here, Angular plugin. So this dude offers a lot of utilities. The first thing is this mapping between your source code and your user interface. If you click on the app home, it will highlight the home component. If you click on the app root, it will highlight the root component, the app component. Yeah, it's the whole thing. If you click on the checkbox, it will highlight the checkbox. So this is where you can link from your source code to your user interface. Now, if you click on this inspect element, this button turns blue. You can link from the other direction. You click on the whole thing, highlighted the whole thing, the app home is highlighted. If you highlight this row, the checkbox part is highlighted. So this is very convenient. Now, if you click on this checkbox, which one is the first one? Like this checkbox. My school homework. You can see under here shows all the properties. You can move to its parent component, app home. You can see all the properties. and they can be expanded. For example, here, the property form builder is in its constructor. The intake form is a form group. You click on the intake form, there are controls. Let's say the Chinese control, which corresponds to this, I finished my Chinese homework. It's a checkbox. And you can see here the value is now. If you click, the value becomes true right away. And pristine becomes false. And is this touched? So these properties all changes. So this is a very nice way to inspect your property value. And you can actually edit this guy. And also you can see here this double equal $ng$0. And this little guy, Angular extension, Angular DevTools extension, assign a temporary name to this object. So if you use console $ng0, which is the temporary name, $ng0, sorry, there's a huge microphone between me and my keyboard. You will be able to inspect this home component here. Controls, the values, we see, let's say art, controls art. So values now. Let's click on, I finished my art homework. This does not refresh. It's still now. So that Angular thing is better because it reflects the value change real time. See, the value is true. You uncheck it, value become false. Yeah. So I think this Angular DevTools extension is very nice. It tracks the value real time. Now, another little thing I want to talk about is the search box. You can search for component. For example, a home component. It will highlight the home component. Yeah. So that's another nice little utility. The last thing I want to talk about is the profiler. So it will profile your event cycles so that you know rendering the component handling event took how much time. So you know that where you need to work on to improve your application performance. For example, here, if you start recording, you click one button, a bunch of things happens. You click another button, a bunch of things happens. You uncheck, something happens. Uncheck again, something happens. Each bar represents amount of time spent. Because here it's a 0.6 millisecond. So this time spent is minuscule, negligible. But if you have a huge bar that costs like half a second, say 500 milliseconds, then you need to pay attention. Why this thing is taking so much time? Yeah, it's mad input. Yeah, you can view the performance from other views as well, like the flame graph or this tree map. Yeah, it gives you some idea about how much time each event cost. There are a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think this material is enough to get you started with this Angular debugging using Google Chrome and this Angular DevTools Google Chrome plugin. And remember, this plugin is also available in Firefox. Okay, that's the video for today. Thank you.